Alain Roy, welcome to the Friday interview, Fredagsintervjun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How would you describe the relationship between Canada and the United States at this point?
Yeah, we can say that there has been a cold between the United States and Canada, mainly because of the tariff wars that Trump has started. We are supposed to have free trade between Canada and United States, but with this trade war, it's as if Trump is breaking up this agreement that we had. And so now lots of Canadians don't want to go anymore to the United States. Tourism has dropped by something like 30%. We don't sell anymore American liquors in our stores. So there's this, we can say there's this tension. And our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, you probably heard him in Switzerland,
yes,
defending this new vision that medium-sized countries should unite against bigger countries who try to bully them. So it's a sort of it's like a new world order we're getting in.
And this is not only on the so-called political level, also in everyday life, or?
Yes, as I said, people become reluctant to just go to the United States. We hear stories about people being annoyed at the customs and things like that. So some even say, "Oh, I'm scared they'll do something. They'll go through my cellular phone and check what I'm writing online." And there's it has changed in everyday life. When we go to the store, we check: is this a product coming from the USA? Yes, okay, I'm not buying it. So,
you mentioned Mark Carney. He received a lot of praise, at least in Europe, after his speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, where he spoke about the new world order and how to manage Trump. And you say this speech was also received well in Canada.
I would say so, because at the beginning, we felt that Carney wasn't having a strong enough position. He seemed like he was making concessions, but I think he realized that these concessions were not working and not were doing anything. Many people knew that from the start, but maybe some people think that if you give Trump what he wants, he's going to go easy on you, but it's the contrary, because if you do that, he'll think that you're weak. And if you're weak, he'll ask for more. So you can't give Trump what he wants. You have to, I think, it's a question that everybody's asking. How can you deal with him? What should we do? And I think it's impossible, really, to deal with this man, because his word doesn't mean anything.
And still you have to deal with him.
But I think what Canada is doing now, they won't say it officially, but I think they're playing the clock. They're just waiting, because he wants to renegotiate the trade deal between Canada and the United States. And I think Canadians are just waiting for him to just go before signing anything. So maybe that's what we all have to do, is just play the clock and wait, because it's not going very well for him these days. I looked at the recent polls today on the Washington Post, and they're very bad. For example, on the cost of living, I think he has only 24% approval. On the war in Iran, it's something like 30%. So his numbers are very low.
Yeah.
And so we can expect that he will lose the midterm elections.
Is there also pockets of support for Trump and his policies, such as you mentioned the tariffs, among Canadians? And what do their best arguments sound like?
If Canadians support Trump's, no Canadian supports Trump.
No one?
No one, absolutely no one, because it hurts the Canadian economy. People are losing jobs right now because of that. Companies are in difficulties. And so United States was the first economic partner of Canada. Lots of Businesses sell most of their products to the United States, but now we have to diversify. We have to find other markets.
So even some persons who thought maybe before he was re-elected, maybe Trump is good in some ways or have some good ideas, there's none of them left.
Maybe on the right wing, radical right, some people may like him, but I think every man who works in a company and cares about the economy of Canada, nobody supports Trump, I would say.
Your book, which has just been published in Swedish, is called Fallet Trump, the Trump case. But the original title I discovered, I believe, in French is Portrait of a Fraudster. How is Trump a fraudster?
Yeah, or Portrait of an Imposter. It's because Trump, all his life, has presented himself as someone that he is not. He has portrayed himself as a self-made man, self-made billionaire. But when you study the course of his financial career, we could say, we discovered that this is absolutely not true. Trump received, in fact, from his father something like $500 million. He always pretended that his father only lent him $1 million, but we can see that's just one of the many, many lies that he said. And we also know that he had one bankruptcy after the other. At the end of the 1990s, Trump was completely ruined. According to himself, he was then worth minus $900 million. So all the money that he had from his father, he just threw it all away with bad business decisions. And at that time, he was in his 50s. So this idea that Trump is a real estate tycoon is a complete fabrication. It's a complete fabrication. He's a rich father's boy. That's what he is, really. And a bad businessman.
In some way, you could say that he's also maybe a fraudster then, but in some sense also politically completely open about his bragging, exaggerating, lying even, talking openly about planning revenge on his enemies and so on and so on. Could you in one way say he's very honest?
Sometimes he says transparently what he wants to do, mainly when he's on the revenge mode, when he wants to attack people. But he's also someone who lies constantly. The Washington Post, during his first mandate in the White House, they calculated the number of lies he was producing, and they came up for 4 years with a number like 30,537 lies, something like that. So
quite something.
Yeah. So just in his official declarations, he would produce like 20 lies a day. So he's also someone who's constantly lying. So yeah, sometimes when he's mad about someone, he will say it, but he's also someone who's always distorting facts and saying untrue things.
One chapter in your book is called America's Putin. Would you say that Trump already is an American Putin or on his way to become one?
Okay, here I think we have to distinguish two things. There is what Trump wants and what Trump can do. So what Trump wants, I think, and I show it in the book, he's a complete admirator of Putin. He admires Putin's wealth. He fantasizes about having the same wealth. We're talking, we don't know how much money Putin has, but some say it's at least $200 billion because he owns large parts of the Russian economy. And Trump fantasizes to have this same wealth and power because for Trump, And here we're touching about his ego problem or obsession. For him, having money means being a worthy individual. So it's an obsession for him to have money, more money, because for him, if you have money, it means you're intelligent. It means you have succeeded. And if you don't, it means you're not intelligent. So he needs it. It's like a necessity for him. So he admires Putin. He would like to be have the same kind of power, and I think that's why he had all these fantasies of annexing Canada, because he made this so-called joke that Canada should be the 51st state of the United States. He repeated that over and over and over. And that was very also insulting and annoying for Canadians, because Canadians don't want to be part of the United States because we have a very different society. I often say that Canada is like a European country in the Americas. And really, the Canadian society is completely different from the American one.
So in some aspect, he wants to be like Putin.
Yeah, and of course, and annexing Canada and also annexing Greenland is to have a bigger country than Putin. It looks very childish, but that's how Trump thinks. And that's what I try to show in the book, is how he has this very childish psychology in a way. So Putin as the biggest country in the world, I want to have a bigger country than Putin. How to do that? I should annex Canada. I should annex Greenland. Then I will have a bigger country.
So, he himself argues that it's because of national security, etc. You don't buy that?
Absolutely not, because what Trump always thinks about himself and about enriching himself. I don't think he's really thinking about the good of the United States, really, because he's doing so many things to destroy his own country. The list, we could go down the list, but he has done so many things to hurt his own country, which is very paradoxical because his slogan is "Make America Great Again," but he keeps on attacking the healthcare organizations, the universities, the media, all the foreign diplomatic apparatus of the United States, the relationships of the United States with other allies and countries. So what he is in fact doing is destroying his country.
You quote, among others, also Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, as saying that Trump doesn't have the brains to become a dictator. Would that suggest that he really wants and aims to be one, but he can't really go all the way?
I think Bolton is right. And there is so many examples of Trump's incompetence and lack of knowledge in history, geography, political, geostrategic situation and dynamics and everything. So I think he's absolutely right that Trump doesn't have the brains to do that, but he is someone who has this kind of lust for power, and he knows no limits. So he's willing to do a lot of things to shake the system and cross red lines, and because he doesn't care about rules, he doesn't care about the American Constitution, he doesn't care about the law. He always had a purely instrumental relationship with the law. The law is like a weapon. He always accuses the Democrats of weaponizing the justice system, but that's what he always does. What he's doing himself, he's saying the others are doing it, but he's the one weaponizing the Department of Justice.
And how far would you say that this development has gone during these first year, almost 2 years in office this time, when it comes to free press, independent courts, functioning multi-party system, etc.?
I think in his second term, he moved very fast, as we saw. A lot of people were surprised by everything he was doing. Every day there was a new action that was really surprising for everyone. But I think now that the midterms are approaching, and seeing that his poll numbers are so low, people even in the MAGA movement and the Republican Party are starting to see that Trump is going towards defeat. And what some analysts say is that now the MAGA movement and the Republican Party have entered a new stage, which is to ask themselves who's going to replace Trump. So they have this expression, lame duck. So he is approaching, I think, this state of the lame duck.
So he's becoming a lame duck.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of warnings about Trump has been called or accused of being a fascist, and that democracy is really under threat in the US. But isn't that the case that the US is still, as far as we can tell now, a country with a free press, with independent courts, a functioning democracy, basically? Has there been too much worries around that?
Well, I don't think you can really worry too much, because what he was doing was not acceptable. So it was, I think, in my view, perfectly okay to denounce what he was doing. Because if there is still democracy, it's because people have resisted to Trump. If they had not, maybe the situation would be much worse. So I think some before I started the book, with my discussions with people, some would say, well, Trump is just like a buffoon. We shouldn't be worried about him. Don't take him seriously. But we have seen the actions he has done, and they have some real consequences in the lives of everybody. We see it now with the war in Iran and the price of gasoline. It has huge effects on his tariff wars have huge effects on people's lives. So I think we have to take him seriously, and if the system can resist him, well, it's a good thing, because the problem is that very often with Trump, the way to hold him back is through the justice courts, but the justice system, it takes time. It's not. So we are in this period where the justice system hasn't had the time yet to. Well, some of his actions have been stopped, like for example, the trade war. The Supreme Court has declared that some tariffs were illegal. But it took some months before that happened.
And the administration is planning to go back with new arguments, I think, for maintaining the tariffs.
Well, yeah, and that's what he did. And he imposed new tariffs that are even worse than before. So Trump is always someone who is doubling down. If he suffers a defeat, he will come back twice as hard. So, and I think that's the way he is. So I think we have no choice but to. Trump is someone you have to fight constantly. Otherwise, he could really endanger. Yes, I think democracy in the United States. He had some lawsuits against some medias. Some people have been moved from TV shows and all that. So the Kennedy Center for the Arts, for example, it was completely destroyed by him. So I think he can do damage, really, real damage.